Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden and welcome to my March garden tour. For those of you who don't know, since day one on my channel, I have been doing garden tours every single month, no matter if I felt like I had something to show you all or if I felt like I had nothing to show you all. I did it not only so you all could see the changes in my garden throughout the season, but so that I could also see the changes in my garden as I went through and I really picked out, the little things that I had done that past month. It was extremely motivating for me, and I could kind of look back at each garden tour and see how far I've come. Now, some months I feel like I have absolutely nothing to show you, and I feel like I'm showing you dirt. This month, I've been so excited to film this tour because I finally feel like we're making some changes, some big changes. And the biggest thing you can kind of see behind me, that is the orchard garden. So let me turn the phone around and let me show you all what's been going on. All right, here is my orchard. This is my orchard garden bed. This is the garden bed that I've decided to tackle first in my garden. We moved into our home last August. It was completely bare. It had nothing but weeds and some redwood mulch, and that was about it. And it needed to be completely reconfigured. And so we've been working on it really hard. I started to get a little bit overwhelmed with how much space I had, and I was kind of going all over the place. I started plantings there, I started plantings over there, I started plantings there, and then I realized I needed to kind of hunker down a little bit, really focus on one area first so that I had something pretty to look at and I could kind of get a direction for this property, which is what I did with this orchard garden bed. So like I said, I decided to just focus on this garden bed, just put all my time and money and effort and energy into this garden bed. And once it got to the point where I felt like it was comfortable and I was happy with it and I could plant shrubs and perennials and annuals in it, then I could go on to another garden bed. But for right now, this is what I've really mainly been focusing on. About 75% of my energy has been going towards this garden bed. As you can see, there are some big changes that's been going on this month. So first off, I'll say probably the biggest change. Well, I don't know what the biggest is. It's either the pathway or it's the mulch. I'll start with the mulch. So about 2 weeks ago, I signed up, 3 weeks now, I signed up for getchipdrop.com, which is where you can get free wood chips from arborists in your area. And they'll just stop by, whenever they cut down trees and process them, they'll stop by and they'll dump them off at your property. So I got a phone call from someone saying, hey, I have 45 cubic yards of almond wood chips. Would you like them? And I said, absolutely yes, come dump them in my center island. And I thought I was gonna have chips for days. I thought I was gonna be able to cover absolutely everything on this entire property and have extra. Turns out it was only enough to cover the long border over there, the willow tree garden bed over here, and then also the orchard over here. And then we ran out of wood chips, which I was absolutely shocked. So I definitely need some more wood chips. The reason why I went with Chip Drop is because it's free. It is absolutely free. The cost of mulch, I was looking it up, per cubic yard is like insane. Plus you have to pay for delivery. And I just thought, man, I think I'm just going to go the cheaper route. And it turns out the cheaper route is actually really, really healthy for your soil, especially when you have compost underneath, which is what I have. From the very beginning, I knew I wanted to do the no-till garden bed in this area just because I didn't want to till up the whole garden, and I wanted to try that method where you don't till it up and you just put cardboard on and then about 6 inches of compost. And so that's what I've been doing. And now this garden bed is, the soil is looking really, really good. The compost is starting to mix in with the underlying soil, and it is just, when I dig in it with my auger, it's just beautiful. It's like black gold. And I did have a layer of cardboard underneath the 6 inches of compost. I can't even see it anymore. When I dig, it's completely disintegrated. So it was just there to keep the weeds down while everything, while you kind of started out with everything. I did not expect that cardboard to keep all of the weeds down, and especially because it was this nice fertile compost in this area, I knew that there was going to be more weeds, but it really has made it so that I can stay on top of it. So if any of you are thinking about doing the no-till method in a garden bed, I would recommend it. It worked really well for me. I live in zone 9B in Northern California, and we're so dry during the summer. We did get a lot of rain this winter, but it's just, I'm just so happy with it. I'm so pleased that I made that jump and decided to do that. So that's the chip drop. The other big thing that happened this month was we got our pathway in. So this is a decomposed granite pathway with a metal edging. The metal edging is from a company called Edgerite, and they produce these 4-foot long strips of metal edging they come in 6-inch wide and then also 8-inch wide, or I should say tall. Mine is the 8-inch tall, and it looks, just let me warn you, there's nowhere near enough of the decomposed granite down right now. So we were only able to put the base layer, which is the aggregate base layer, down, and then 1 inch of the decomposed granite before the rain caught up to us and we couldn't use the compactor any longer. And so the rest of the decomposed granite that's going on the pathway is sitting right there underneath that blue tarp. So hopefully that should get done next week. Again, it all depends on the weather, because to put a decomposed granite pathway down, you have to use this really, really heavy plate compactor machine. It's incredibly heavy, and if it's too muddy, it will sink in and it won't actually compact. It will just go down through the decomposed granite. So the decomposed granite, once we're done, it's going to be a lot higher on the metal edging, but you can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like now. Just imagine the decomposed granite a little bit taller and also smoother, because this layer has not been compacted down yet. So my husband Jason worked on this, and then I have 2 guys that work for me, here and there. They do the heavy duty stuff. Their names are Milo and Isaac. And then they also have a third friend who's been helping me out a lot, Brayden, and they have been doing such an amazing job. They are such hard workers, and I could never have gotten this far without them. And Jason, they've all done such a good job. So when I was in Seattle for the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival, they were here working on this, and I'm so happy with it. Let me show you guys this over here. You can see there's a little circle right there, and then the pathway comes over here to this new patio area. So this is another thing that's new. You all might recognize this kind of patio area. This is the same layout that I have in my greenhouse. I'll show you that in the backyard in a little bit. I hadn't decided what I was going to do here, but I ended up loving my greenhouse flooring so much, and it was relatively inexpensive and easy to install, that I decided to do it here in the front. So we're not done yet. We obviously have to finish. Everything's still a work in progress, but you can see, kind of what it's going to look like. I really like how the diamonds of the concrete blocks mimic the diamonds of my espalier right there. I feel like it's just kind of all coming together. And then you can see my door over there. That door color is Rejuvenation by Bear. I love that color, and it matches my Vigo garden beds perfectly. I have a plan for planting up these pots pretty soon. So, there's all these really fun plans coming, and it's just that really fun time of year where the possibilities are endless. There's so much fun stuff that we can do. So let me go back through the orchard and let me show you some of the plants that I planted up in the past month as well. All right, so first off on this berm right here. So this berm, what we did is we did kind of fill soil. We got a lot of soil out of the center island, and we kind of mounded it up and then mixed in a lot of compost as well, and then covered it with a layer of wood chips. It is gonna compact down a lot, so it's not gonna be as tall as it looks now. It's so hard to see on camera how tall it actually is. Hopefully that will help you guys see it a little bit better. But in there, I just planted this. This is a lavender twist redbud that was a gift from Katie Candelario, who owns Candelario Ace Hardware up in Gridley. We are doing a Proven Winners event there on April 13th. If any of you are local, I would say go, because it's going to be amazing. And there's going to be like 2,700 Proven Winners plants there. So I'm very excited about that. But this one is going to grow up probably about, I think it's 6 feet tall and 8 feet wide. And I'm going to train it into like an umbrella weeping shape. I'm just so excited about it. It's going to be beautiful. Just the other day, I transplanted this Miss Molly butterfly bush that's going to get huge. I didn't realize how big these get. Is it 5 by 5? It's 5 by 5. 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. Can you see that? It's gonna get pretty big. I think that's a really good spot for it. I think it's gonna be really pretty right there. And then I have 3 iceberg roses behind it that it's gonna be gorgeous. And just as a quick reminder, I am gonna have kind of a little fence here, like a wire fence. It's gonna come out this way, and then right here, it's gonna turn and it's gonna go towards the house. So it's basically gonna enclose the berm, and it's gonna be like a little courtyard area right there. It's gonna be, I'm really excited about it. So coming down this way through the orchard, I have another rose right here that's growing really well. This is called Romantica Ball Gown. Right there, look at that rose. Isn't that beautiful? So this one gets pretty tall. This gets like 8 feet, up to 6 feet tall, excuse me. So that's gonna look pretty, and I think it's gonna pop against the black fence. The fence color is Bare Slate, if any of you are wondering. I do wanna show you this gorgeous camellia. So this is a new camellia. This is a Nuccio camellia, and look at that thing. Look at that camellia. Is that not the most beautiful camellia you've ever seen? It is called Elegans Champagne. It's a Nuccio camellia, and if you don't know about Nuccios, they're based out of Southern California, and he apparently is retiring. And once he retires, you won't be able to get these anymore. Like, look at that. Is that not beautiful? Even as they're fading, they look incredible. It's so funny because these blooms are so heavy, they're falling over. I'm sure as the plant gets more like older and the stems get stronger, it'll be able to hold itself up. But I am just so incredibly happy with this camellia. It's a Camellia japonica. So again, Camellia japonicas, they bloom after Christmas. Camellia sasanquas bloom before Christmas. I did harvest all of my oranges. Well, most of my oranges. There's a couple left there. I did harvest all my oranges from the orange tree. We got, oh my goodness, we got about 500 pounds of fruit that we donated to the food bank. It was absolutely crazy how much fruit came off of these 2 orange trees. And mind you, my family and I, we've been eating oranges nonstop since the holidays and having fresh squeezed orange juice. So, oh my goodness, these are such prolific trees. I cannot believe it. Right across from there, I have this little grouping that I planted last fall, and these are Banana Cream 2 Shasta Daisies. I have another grouping over there. They're going to be really, really pretty. These are Dianthus Paint the Town Fuchsia, I think. Yeah, Paint the Town Fuchsia Dianthus. These have been really pretty. I planted them so that they can grow together in kind of like a swath. So I'm excited for them to kind of spread out a little bit, but they have had color pretty consistently throughout the whole winter season, which has been really nice. And then in between the Shasta Daisy, I did plant some ranunculus. And you can see I have my first bud right here, which is so exciting. Then right here, I don't know if you can see, but I do have my Watch Up daffodils coming up all over the place. I planted them here and then over here. And I honestly, I didn't think they were gonna make it because I planted them and then the guys came through and they dug out the pathway. And so all the extra soil got placed on top of them. And then as they were putting in the metal edging, they were like stomping all over them, which is, totally expected. And I thought, well, those daffodils are done. Like that didn't work out, but all of a sudden they started growing. So I'm excited to see if they bloom. They're a beautiful, beautiful creamy white color. And I'm hoping that they'll naturalize and they'll come back every year because I think that that would just be absolutely beautiful. So coming over here, I've planted, well, let me get out of the way for my shadow. I've planted a Flavorette Honey Apricot Rose. I just transplanted that from the center island. That is going to get pretty tall. I didn't realize how tall it was going to get. I think it's going to get 6 feet tall and 4 feet wide. So that might have not been the best place for it. I should have looked that up before I planted it there. But it is a beautiful rose that is edible, by the way. And I just think it's going to be amazing. So I'll leave it there for a year or so. And then if I have to transplant it, I'll transplant it. Maybe I should transplant it sooner. Oh, I feel like I'm torturing that poor thing. Okay, then I have cal lilies back here. I got these from Fernula at Cottage Gardens of Petaluma. She ordered them for me and I appreciate it. Look, all back here. They're going to do so well back here underneath the orange tree. And then this whole area right here, this is a new thing I'm doing. This is what I'll call my February planting. My goal for this year is to have a planting of blooming flowers every single month this whole entire year. So you can see I got lilac vine back here. That's going to be growing up along the fence. Then I got hellebores. Look at how, these are incredible. These are so beautiful. And then not looking as nice. The rain really got them. You can kind of see I have some lupin here. And so my goal is that when I come out into the garden and say I do a garden tour or something, I will have something beautiful to show you all every single month. And so I missed January, but at least for February, I have this planting here and I think it's just going to be beautiful. Right in front of it, these sticks, this is a Gatsby pink oak leaf hydrangea. This is going to get about 8 feet tall. And so it's kind of like, that's going to block out everything. But you can see what it looks like during the winter time when the hellebores and the lilac vine are going crazy. It's going to look like sticks. So I think that it's going to be perfect. I'm excited to have it. Look at how many buds are on this. I can't remember this one. Spring Festival. Isn't that an apt name for right now? Look at this. So this is another Nuccio Camellia. I'll link that video down below because it was a really great video from Eileen at Van Winden's Nursery in Napa. And she just knows so much about so many plants. And as we were filming that video, I was like, oh, I want that camellia. Oh, I want that camellia. And so I think I bought 5 of them and you'll see the camellias all around my garden. And I'm really happy to have them because it's nice to have beautiful blooms like that, you know, at this time of year when not much else is blooming. All right, here's my pomegranate tree that I am so iffy about. It's starting to leaf out right now, so I kind of feel like I should give it another season to see how I like it. I just kind of don't think they're the most beautiful trees, or I'm not a huge fan of it. I think I'm going to keep it a lot cleaner than it was last year and a lot more pruned. So maybe I'll like it better, but it's just not my favorite thing. So don't get too attached to that. Here I have another garden bed. A lot of these are the banana cream 2s. You can see they're blooming right now. Some of them are blooming. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, it's so nice to see flowers. And then in between, I have a whole bunch of daffodils. And then over here, I have a line of pyrocamellias. I think that's how you say it. Jukebox pyrocamellias. It's an alternative to boxwood, right? It's supposed to be an evergreen. They're still very, very young. They're looking okay. I can see new growth on them, so I'm interested to see how they're going to do this year. They're supposed to be better for the heat, you know, still look like a boxwood. You can make it into a hedge, but they're supposed to be better for hot areas. So we will watch this one and see how it does. I'm kind of just trialing it out. And then over here, you can see my tulips. Aren't they beautiful? So I have these here, and then I'm going to come this way. And then I have these over here. So I'm really excited about these. I actually didn't cover these. We do have squirrels and I thought the squirrels were gonna get them and they didn't. I did cover these over here, but the squirrels didn't even notice them. Doesn't mean they're not gonna notice them next season, but I think that they're really pretty. So tulips don't naturalize for us. We're just way too warm in the wintertime. We only get, we don't even get a freeze. We maybe get like 2 frosts. So these are just annuals. I'm gonna leave them and I'm gonna leave the bulbs in here and just maybe hope that some of them will come back, but I'm not going to bet on it at all. Then back behind these tulips, I have my purple and orange garden bed that I think once it starts blooming, doesn't look like much right now, but I really think once it starts blooming, it's going to look absolutely incredible. I'm really excited about it. I have some cat's pajamas, Nepeta in the front. I have some orange blaze Nyphophia. You can kind of see a bloom right here. There's that one. Then I have denim and lace Russian sage. And then finally in the back, I have, why am I blanking on the name? Something Esperanza. I'll put it up on the screen right now. And that one should get pretty big. So that will be kind of a nice backdrop. I have another one right there, but that one isn't looking very good. So I'm not gonna plan on that one doing much this year. Okay, coming over here, the other thing that I did this past month is planted this beauty, which you can't see with the shadow. This is tough. There, that's kind of better. No. So this is a deodar cedar. This tree is going to get about 50 feet tall, 20 feet wide, 25 feet wide. I know it looks really close to this telephone pole, but I have measured it. It's going to be good. It's a really, really good spot for it, I think, because as you stand over there, it's going to block the pole and it's going to kind of soften the corner of my property. I love deodar cedars. My mom, as you drive up to her house, one of her neighbors has one of these, and I like stare at it every single time we drive by. I always admire it. So I'm really happy to have one of my own. I planted it. It's doing really well. It looks like I even have some new growth. So it's happy and I'm just so excited to see it grow. It's so funny. I can tell that it's spring because I have so many more plants to talk about this garden tour than just even last garden tour, which was just a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, do I skip by this plant or do I talk about it? Like this one, this is, well, you can't even see it again. This is Sunny Boulevard. This is a St. John's wort. Here's what it looks like. And I think it's going to be so pretty and I think it's going to do so well here. It doesn't look like anything right now, but it's going to start growing and it's going to start, it's just going to be, it's a really, really good plant for my area. And they've had the UC Davis, which is the college in the town that I live in. They have the plant trials and these apparently won a whole bunch of awards at the plant trials. So I'm excited for that. I do have a bunch of weeds here I can see, so ignore that. These, I don't think I've talked about these a lot. These are Blood, Sweat, and Tears Daylily. They're doing really well. Daylilies are kind of like iceberg roses for us. They are what you would call parking lot plants, meaning you can literally find them in parking lot anywhere. And so I've always been kind of iffy about having them in my garden, but I decided to put some in and I can see why they're in parking lots, just like the iceberg rose. They just do so well for us. They do so beautifully. So I'm excited for these to start blooming. Like I said, I've fertilized everything, so it's going to start blooming really soon. Over here in this garden bed, I have some Helen von Steinlams here. It's going to get nice and big. I'm really excited about that. Back in black sedum, that's starting to put on some new growth. It doesn't look like much right now, but that will get pretty big. This right here, this is Serendipity Allium. This is one that I'm trialing for my area. I live in zone 9B. These are only rated up to zone 8, but I think they're going to do fine in my zone 9B because I live in the west. So there's zone 9 in Florida that's really hot and really humid and doesn't cool down during the winter. Our weather is a little bit different. It's incredibly hot, but incredibly dry, but it does cool down during the winter. So, it's just kind of interesting and I'll have to see how it does. Then coming over here, if you all watched my Matilaha poppy video, I wanted a Matilaha poppy or the fried egg poppy so badly. I knew that they were tough to plant because sometimes they just don't take in your garden. They're really, really hard to get established. But you can see mine right here. Look at how good this plant is looking. There's new growth on it. It's gorgeous. It's green. It's just, this one is definitely taking. So this is going to be huge. This is going to be like 10 feet tall and wide, and it does spread. So it's going to be gorgeous. Over here, you can see the difference. This is another one this doesn't look as good. This almost looks like it got too much water, and it's not even hooked up on drip right now. It doesn't look happy. So I don't know if this one will survive, but if it does, great. If not, the one behind it will definitely pick up the pace and take up its spot here in this area. Okay, then coming over here to the long border, the other thing that we did this month is we did plant four trees in here that I wanted to get them in the ground so that they could start growing. I want a lot more trees than this, but the problem is, you know, obviously budget. Buying big trees costs a lot of money. And so I'm gonna slowly incorporate more trees kind of as we go. But these are the first 4 for the area. This one right here is a crepe myrtle. It's pink velour. It's gonna get about 8 to 10 feet tall, and it has gorgeous, gorgeous pink blooms on it during the summer. It's gonna be beautiful. It has not broken dormancy yet. And that's the thing with crepe myrtles, is they don't break dormancy until pretty late. But once they do, they look absolutely gorgeous. Right here is a lemon yellow cypress. This one's gonna get about 30 feet tall, but only 6 feet wide. So I just really like this chartreusey green color. My goal is to block out all my neighbors' stuff. You know, they're really good neighbors. They're not loud. They're perfectly fine, but I think it'll be pretty just to kind of cover a couple things that they have going on. This is an apricot tree right here. You can see it starting to bloom out. I didn't do anything with this tree. I am so intimidated by fruit trees, fruit tree pruning, fruit tree care, all stuff fruit trees. And it's just the type of thing that I know I just need to jump in there and make mistakes and learn. But it's just one of those things for me that I get really, really nervous about. But I did hear a quote, and it said something like, it's better to prune wrong than to not prune at all. So, you know, I think it's too late for me to prune now, but I think that that's pretty good advice. And I think next year I'm going to be more on it. Right here is a Wichita blue juniper, one of my favorite trees. I love this tree so much. It gets about 15 feet tall. Obviously, the reason why I love it is its blue foliage. It's just so gorgeous. I love this tree, and I want like 10 more of these in my garden. They're just beautiful. They are zones, hardy to zones 7, USDA 7, but don't let that fool you if you live on the West Coast. Check out your sunset zone, your sunset growing zone, because this Wichita blue juniper is, I don't know, do you say hardy? It grows in sunset zone 1 through 24. So that means it's really well adapted to the West Coast. So check your sunset growing zone before you write off a Wichita blue juniper. And then finally, the last tree we planted is this purple hop seed right here. So I picked this tree because it's a really, really, really good tree for our area. They put these everywhere because they do so well for us. They do have this in the winter. It's kind of this brownish foliage. In the summer, it's a little more green with red tips. It's really pretty. I got this purely for the color because I have the Wichita blue juniper and the lemon yellow cypress, and I needed something dark to allow those to pop. So, which is why I chose this. You know, I obviously am drawn to the chartreuse and the blue foliage, but you can't have just all that, or so I've been told. I wish I could, but I'm not going to. So that's why I got the purple hop seed. I think it's just going to be an easy, no fuss tree. It does look like a bush right now, but I am going to train it up to look more like a standard. But I'm just not going to do that yet. Let me quickly show you all the zigzag planter. We're almost there. We are almost there. This is all in here. These are daffodils, and they're called Bloom Factory. They're from colorblends.com. You can see right there. And once they start blooming, it's just supposed to be covered with daffodils. So I'm really excited to see how they do once they start blooming. I did cut back my my purple fountain grass here, which I have decided to leave this purple fountain grass this season, which I know that they're going to get really, really big, but I think it'll be really pretty. And then you can see right here, I have my pink cashmere superbena. I actually fertilized these yesterday, which is crazy to say, but we don't have any more frost and it's starting to push blooms. So I figured, why not? I'm not going to leave these in here. I'm probably going to transplant these out somewhere. But while I have them here, I would like to see blooms, which is why I did that. Okay, let me show you another area that we've been working on a ton this past month, and that is my secret shade garden. And my secret shade garden is, if you look at the house, this is the north side of our house. From here over to the other side of the house over there, it's what I'm calling my secret shade garden. And the reason why I'm calling it that is you can barely see them, but you can see this, there's rusted trellis right here. So basically it's a wall here, it goes up in an arch, and then there's another wall here. And then there's another one over there on that side. And my goal is to have this area be like a room, like be a garden room. And so you walk in and it's just, you're kind of enclosed, you're kind of hidden from the bright hot sun during the summer. If there's any wind, it will hide, any noise with, this is not the quietest property, I'll tell you all, but that's okay. So this whole area is going to be kind of like a little sanctuary. So I've got the trellises. I actually purchased the vines that I'm going to put on there, and I'm so excited about that. You guys should see that video next week. And then I've started planting a whole bunch of shade plants right here because for most of the day it gets shade. Close to the fence, it does get a little bit of sun, but I would still call it part shade, less than 4 hours. So I have Jack of Diamonds Brunnera. I have a whole bunch of them. I have like 4 over there, and I think I have 5 over here. And then right here, gosh, Monty, I swear, can you see that? Oh, my dog. Okay, well, right here is my Shadowland Diamond Lake Hosta. I have one there, it has not broken dormancy, one there and one there. I do have an Empress Woo Hosta right over there, and then some more Jack of Diamonds. I also have a Wildberry Heuchera right there, so you can see a lot of perennials, a lot of herbaceous perennials right now. I am planning to put some evergreens in here yet, but I just haven't gotten there yet. I'm definitely going to put one right over here because my fence is basically falling down and there's no way we're going to be able to replace it this year. So we're just going to kind of patch it and hope that it stays up and plant things to cover it, I would say. So the guys haven't gotten to this point yet for the pathway, but they are planning to do this actually tomorrow. They're planning to finish putting the edging in and then put the aggregate base in, and then hopefully next week we can put the rest of the decomposed granite in. It's taking longer than I had thought. I had wanted it to all be done by March 1st, but it's just been the weather has been holding us back a lot. This is very, very weather dependent, and I probably should have thought of that, but that's okay. So that should get done pretty soon. I also dug a trench right here and was able to put some PVC pipe under there so I could run the extension cord for my fountain. And then also 1/2-inch irrigation tubing so I can get from the irrigation tube right here over to this side of the bed. Oh my goodness, you guys. I feel like I've been talking my head off. At my last property, I used to do a front and a back garden tour. So one day I would post the front garden tour, one day I would post the back garden tour. And when I moved here, I didn't think there was enough to talk about in 2 garden tours. So I just combined it all into one. But I don't even have like a fraction of all the plants that I'm gonna have in here this year, and I already feel like I've been talking for like an hour. So I think next month I'm gonna do 2 garden tours. I'll do a front garden tour and I'll do a back garden tour, just like I used to do at my last property. So stay tuned for that. Now let's move on to the backyard. Okay, so front and center in the back garden is, of course, my greenhouse. I love it so much. It looks so beautiful. I've been able to plant a little bit around it. I've got 2 iceberg rose standards on either side, and then I have 2 breath of heavens on either side right here. I've had a little bit of trouble digging back here. There's a whole bunch of concrete buried over here, and then over here is like the most clay soil you've ever seen in your entire life. It's incredible. It's just like one area of clay soil. But I got it in, and then I have big plans for a lot of annuals and a lot of sunflowers and some supertunias, and I just cannot wait. I'm so close, so almost there to have a lot of color. So the greenhouse has been incredible. It's been beautiful. I'm still figuring out exactly like how I want to use it. I think like I want to get I really like sitting in here, like just hanging out in here. And I wasn't planning to put like a chair in here, but I think I'm going to, because it's just so pleasant, especially in the morning. Look, this just opened. Oh, isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it so much. I love it so much. So it's so pleasant to sit in here, and I haven't decided how much of a working greenhouse this is going to be versus like a hangout greenhouse. So I'll figure it out. I'll kind of work it out, but you can see that I did get a new chandelier. I actually got this chandelier off Facebook Marketplace. It's beautiful. It's a Pottery Barn chandelier, and the people who were selling it, they just kind of changed the style of their home. So it works perfectly well. It is a hardwired chandelier, and I don't have any wiring in here. And so I want to convert it to a solar chandelier, but I'm just like, it's like the fruit tree pruning. I'm just really confused like of how to do it. And I keep looking it up and trying to figure it out. So I think I'm going to call my electrician, Steve, and just have him come out here and do it. Oh, look at this too. So this is an amaryllis. It's starting to open. This is the Papillon butterfly amaryllis. Oh, so these two, they already bloomed. They're all done, but this one is starting to open up. I was really sad. The first one bloomed when I was in Seattle, and so I totally missed it. And then the second one, I had let it get too dry, and so it didn't really look very pretty. This one looks really good, so I'll have to watch it and hopefully get a picture of it. So yeah, so greenhouse is gorgeous. Here you can see the flooring, and loving it so much. I love it because it has really good drainage. Like I'll just bring the hose in here and like not worry about it at all. And it was fairly easy to install, and it wasn't very expensive. So really happy about that. Oh, and I will say this greenhouse is the Canopia Triumph. It's an orangery, but the orangery is just the style of the greenhouse. That's this front entrance and the two things on the side, like the wings, I guess you would say, but it's called the Triumph. So I'll put a link to it down below. There is a smaller sized one that I think is really pretty as well, but I love it so much. I love it so much. So I didn't put this on video. I just did this. This was, I planted foxgloves back here, and I'm excited to see how they do. I don't even know if I'm going to hook them up with drip. Like I might just come and water them from the hose this year to see if I can get them to establish, but we'll see. So they're wrapped around this olive tree right here, and I am planning to hang some solar like patio lights on the olive tree, so that should be coming up. And then over here is something very special. This is the fairy garden that the girls and I worked on this past month. They did such a good job with this, and if you all haven't seen the video, I encourage you to watch it and to watch till the end, because there's a very, very beautiful story by Sadie. It is just the cutest story. It's called The Escape, and all the fairies here are like, they're set up for that story. So it's so cute. I love it so much. We got some geranium and some snapdragons and some more calla lilies that are looking really good and have some new growth on it. So I'm happy to have a fairy garden back in our garden. I just think it's so cute, and it's just something you need. You just need to have a fairy garden if you have kids, right? As for these raised garden beds that I have back here, they are all full. Well, mostly full. I think that one's only half full. They're full of cut flowers. That one is veggies, but those veggies are coming out in the next day or two, and zinnias are going in there. So you can tell I am a flower gardener. I try for the veggies, but the veggies always get kind of pushed back and flowers take over. So these two beds back here in the back are the ones that I just direct sowed the seeds. I literally just threw them in there when I was unable to move and on a knee scooter and all that kind of stuff. And it's really nice to see that there are plants coming up. There are mostly this plant coming up, which I'm not totally sure what this one is. I could probably figure it out, but that's like everywhere. So whatever plant that is, it's doing really, really well. Over here, I have a bunch of snapdragons. I'll go over them with you all in another video. I have some Orlea. I have some, let's see, I have some Ami. You know what? I think it's Ami. Look at this. Does that look like that? I don't know. I can't tell. We'll have to wait and see. It'll be interesting to see. So yeah, so all of these are just cut flowers that I grew from seed. I transplanted all of these. They should start growing a lot pretty soon. This right here is, I have Orlea. I was really worried about this Orlea because it was starting to look really bad like this, and I didn't know why, and that's exactly what happened to my Orlea in my last garden. But now it's starting to pick up and it's starting to look a little bit better, and I'm wondering if it was getting too much water from the rains that we've had. We've had a ton of rains, so I'll have to, I'll just have to watch them and see how they do. What is this? Rudbeckia. Exciting. Uh-oh. Well, that's not coming off, is it? Can I get it through? Oh, what do I do? Oh, that was stupid of me. So I had these on to protect from the birds and squirrels. Oh my God, I'm gonna rip this head off. Ah, there we go. Okay. Success. I gotta take these off too. So these were all sowed. These are all cool flowers sowed. Actually, my mom sowed a lot of these, and they've been growing all season long, and then now they're finally starting to come up, and I think they should start blooming soon. This thing looks like it's over a weed. It is over a weed. That's one thing, is this property is so much bigger that I'm just not on top of weeds as much as I used to be, which is fine. I'm not too worried about it. But it's kind of like my last property was so full and it had so much stuff on it that when I did have weeds, I could go through and I could weed in like 2 seconds. Here, I have so much blank space that I have to go through and I have to weed. I'm gonna have to dedicate like a whole day, maybe not a whole day, but definitely a day of just going through and weeding everything to make it look clean. Okay, the sun is setting. I am almost out of time. Let me show you the front of my office where I have the tulips. Look at how beautiful they look. So I do have daffodils coming up, but the tulips have already started coming. You can see I mixed some red ones in with the pink ones, and I just think it is so beautiful. I do have this lantana that's not looking so hot, and this privet, Texas privet, that's not looking so hot either. This Texas privet, I think I gotta pull it out of this pot, or maybe I'll pull it out and I'll root prune it, because it's just really struggling and it's just really hard for me to keep it watered, even now when it's not even hot. So I think it might be time to find something else for right there. I kind of think I want to put that in my shade garden over there. I think it will do really, really well over there. Maybe like what I'm saying is just like right in front of the trellis, like kind of in the corner over there. So we'll still get sun, but it's still part of the shade garden. Last thing, well, second to last thing, I want to show you all my Vigo garden beds. They're looking really, really good. What's not looking good is this Nicotiana. Another thing, I just can't keep it watered. It's just too hard to be watered. It tried to bloom for me. Look, it's like almost there, but I was finding myself watering it like a couple times a day. And so I just thought, okay, I give up on it. So I have this metal pipe right here sticking up, and we need to cut it off. We actually bought the tool to cut it off. So we have the tool now. And then I left it because I wanted to see if this Nicotiana would grow out of it. I just need to cut it off just to be done with it. I have these giant, look at that thing. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Isn't that gorgeous? I have another one here. I think I'm gonna pull these. Courtney, who helps me out, she says she wants a lot of cabbage. I mean, isn't that just the most beautiful thing? Here's my hand. I think it's just so gorgeous. What's not looking good are these peas right here. What are these called? Honey snap pea. Yeah, they need some fertilizer big time. So let's just pretend like we don't see these. Also, same thing over here. These carrots need to be thinned out so bad, but I did pull one and it was delicious. Look at that. Isn't that fun? I'm gonna give that to the bunnies. I bet they'll love that. So I should come in here and I should thin them. It's on my to-do list of things to do. I just haven't gotten around to it. Look, I even have ranunculus coming as well. Oh my gosh, big things are happening. I'm very excited. Okay, the last thing I want to show you all in my March garden tour are my stock tanks right here that I planted up with some tulips. Again, I did a big mix. I don't even know what these are. I just did a huge mix of pink tulips and then mixed in a couple red ones, which I absolutely love. And if you guys don't know the story about the red tulips, my last property, I planted a whole bunch of pink ones and then a couple red ones popped up. And instead of pulling them out, I decided to leave them, and I ended up enjoying that pop of red. And it just kind of reminded me that, like, you can't control nature. Like, nature's gonna do what it wants to do. And if it wants to do a red tulip in a sea of pink, it's gonna do a red tulip in a sea of pink. So I love the red tulips kind of mixed in. I think I'm gonna do it every year from now on because I just think it is so very pretty. Don't you think?
Yeah.
You love it? Yeah. Look what I got for the buns. Should we go give it to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, bunnies. Hi, girls. Come here. Come here. Come here. There you go. Oh my goodness. What do you think? What do you, oh, is that good?
That's funny.
Isn't that cute?
And he's like chopping with the greens and Hermione's eating the carrot.
Is that good? Yeah. They're so cute. Oh, don't pull it. Maybe we should go get another one for them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go get one more because the girls don't know how to share. Okay, these are the carrots.
Okay.
And then you just go down,
Oh, okay.
grab one. Did you get it? Oh, you got two. Well, there you go.
Should I put one back?
No. Nope. Go give them to the girls. All right, so I think that is going to be it for my March garden tour. I did want to tell you all, at my last property, I always did my garden tours at the very end of the month. And this property, I don't know why, but I changed it to the beginning of the month. So if you look at like this March garden tour versus last year's March garden tour, it's, you know, it's like 3 weeks difference or something like that. So I just wanted to point that out. So that's going to be it. I feel like that was a lot of talking and a lot of showing you everything. And next month it will be split into 2.
I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you get a chance to get in your garden too.